Hello one and all, welcome back to more Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. I am the Max Few Trades, getting kind of close to the end. You'd think I'd get this entire title figured out, but whatever. In the last part, boy howdy did we learn a lot. Like, well, for one thing, the victim wasn't just some picture book author. Turns out it was the master of the Kurain channeling technique and is actually Maya's mom. So that was kind of incredibly freaky. Also, we learned that, Pearl has two sisters, and apparently they're Iris and Dahlia. And, yeah. Also, Dahlia is dead, but she's probably a ghost. It's a big mess. We've got a lot to go through, so let's figure this out. Also, interestingly enough, neither the defense or the prosecution will be the same people that it was when this trial started. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work. Good morning! Oh, are you by yourself? Yeah, usually I'm with Maya, but she's not here. Morning, Pearls. Mr. Nick, please tell me, what's gonna happen to Mystic Maya? Hell if I know. All I can do is be hopefully optimistic that everything's gonna work out. It's gonna not be easy, but it'll work out. I'm sorry, we don't know yet. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed into the inner temple. Oh, I see. So is Sister Iris still trying to remove those tricked locks in the training hall? No, she's the defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. Oh, cool, so literally nobody knows how to open them and we're just hoping for the best. Cool beans! She's required to be here in court. Then, how come she's not here in the defendant's lobby? I have to admit, it's kind of strange. If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor's lobby. Who goes there? Edgingworth. Edgeworth. What's Iris doing over there? She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak. Oh, great. Today's testimony? You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution. Well, that's incredibly inconvenient. Wait, what? The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession. Oh, so I heard. Franziska von Karma, what are you up? It's not her! I was under the impression that Godot was the prosecutor now. I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today. Yeah, because I was told it was going to be Godot. Am I imagining when I heard that? What? Then who is? Who else would it be but Godot? Godot? That absolute tool? Franziska is engaged in some important work at the Sacred Cavern. Is she still trying to get those things open? The Sacred Cavern? You don't mean that she's... Exactly. She's been out there all night trying to remove those trick locks. Holy crap! Thank you, Franziska. With the head nun's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. Wow, they already got 4 of them off over the... Wow, she spent the entire night doing that in the cold? Holy crap, did someone bring her a sweater at least? I hope everything continues to go smoothly and we receive some good news soon. Yeah, thanks, Edgeworth. Prosecutor Godot intends to nail this case shut today. Well, that's not gonna happen. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow. You don't have to tell me that. Too shy. I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden, frantic maniac you were yesterday. It's strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger. Interesting. Maybe you've passed your cold onto someone else. Literally. And with that, I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, partner. Friendship! Thanks. Yay! That makes me happy. I love to see character development. I still don't have answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case. The circumstances around the murder of Miss Elise Dunim, no, I mean Miss Misty Fey, let's just start calling her that. The impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. I actually had some thoughts about this, and I think I may have noticed something about this that's a little weird. So, if it comes up, I'll be sure to point it out. Because I don't want to say it if I'm wrong. Oh, great, it's Crazy Lady. Hint. What that woman is really after. Ah! Why would anybody trust someone who can make their pupils disappear like that? I'll solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end. That's the hope, that's the plan, that's the desire. Here's hoping, everybody. It's 10 a.m. Let's do this. Also, we've got the old judge back? Okay. Literally, nobody involved in the first part of this trial is here again. I mean, it would suck if we didn't have the judge. Our judge, of course, but still. Court is now in session for the trial of Iris of Kazukura Temple. Godot is full of himself as always and refuses to speak. Your Honor? What are you? Oh, that's why. We're talking about the fact that it's a different judge. Who? Me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. But, God, we did pass it on, and it went to Canadian judge. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. I see, Your Honor. So they're brothers. That explains a lot. Indeed it does. Although, it also asks a very important question. How is his brother Canadian and him not? I'm sorry. There must be something wrong with me. The information really was kind of delayed in my brain, and it only just now hit me how little sense that makes. I wonder if this is the same in Japan, or if they just changed that for the sake of making a hilarious joke. My poor brother. He looked a bit pale, not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. Don't you do it. Consume! He did it. Great. The saxophone music of pretentiousness and evil is playing. I'm slightly playing up my disdain for this man, although I do actively dislike him. I am trying to do it more so for comedic effect. Obviously, his theme song is rockin'. Come on now. It's impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. Well, I can make a prediction. I'm going to get an innocent verdict, and it's all going to work out. Maya's gonna be safe. You're gonna look a fool. It's gonna be great. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment. Yeah, speaking of judging the past. Well said, Mr. Godot. I understood exactly what you said, at least up until the end anyway. Oh, Judge. Missed you. Now then, Mr. Godot, please proceed with your opening statement. I assume Judge has been filled in about everything? Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There's only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. Consumption. Consumption! The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug. That's really something of your own doing. So then you mean, you know what, forget it. I don't care. What do you mean? During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today, she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Kazukura Temple has a confession to make. Confession? The defendant? Well, that's obviously a pile of butts. Iris. Why didn't she discuss this with me first? My piercing gauge of justice will see this through. Very well. This court will now hear the defendant's confession. You said up and down that you never did it, so what's the story here? Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession, and then insult her for being a woman and base it on their profession, because apparently that's something he also does. Seriously, what the hell was up with that weird-ass thing he did with Francisca? That makes no sense. That's one of my many arbitrary rules. My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at Kazukura Temple. Witness, is there something that you want to confess to? Perhaps a crime? Yes, but first, I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore. It's all right. What is it? Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in this terrible incident. Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Elise Denim? No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place. Well, I mean, it was kind of implied that happened, what with the, you know, with the snowmobile and the being in two places at the same... I wish you said that earlier! After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise and carried it to the Kazukura Temple courtyard where I desecrated it. What? What? Hey, God's almighty, that woman's a crazy person! Is what I want to call them the jury, but they're not. Just the crowd. Order in the court, order! Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder? Yes, that's correct. What? I mean, were we not led to believe that? I was under the impression that was obvious. 3 minutes in court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat. Well, that's actually fairly normal for Phoenix. Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. This guy really thinks he's smart, doesn't he? It just happens to be that, in this case, it's to murder. consumption. Isn't that right, Mr. Trite? Yeah, that Godot. So this is the confession they were conferring about. It pains me to say this, and looks like Iris's testimony was all a lie. Iris's testimony crumpled up and shoved into a pocket. An undescript pocket, of course. Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions? Iris was covering for someone? Ugh. Now I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle or a life jacket. I've been at Kazukura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Kazukura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Kurain tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family. I'm sorry, but main family? Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself, if need be, to protect her. The daughter of the master of the Kurain channeling technique. Friggin' what? Huh? Consume. Wake up and smell the coffee, Trite. She's naming Maya? Cool, great. Bold-faced brazen lies. That's fantastic. Order in the court. So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer. I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. And then I cleaned up the area to try to protect her. Bull blah! That's ridiculous! Maya could never do such a... The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. It's character assassination! Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime? Yes, Your Honor. I thought I was prepared for the unexpected, but then crap like this keeps happening. Never imagined that the case would wind up going in this direction. It's okay, Phoenix, we just gotta do what we always do. Find the errors, find the contradictions, pull them apart, and we'll find the truth. Whatever it ultimately ends up being, we're gonna find it. I went to the inner temple that night, and I saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for it. Uh-huh. So it was in self-defense. Yes, Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. You wanna maybe dish out the information as to how that's supposed to work? That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya. You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Isn't that right? Not bad. You've got the instincts of a true criminal. Okay, so I guess the entire story they're going off of is Maya did all this and now she's in hiding. Is that what's going on here? Because I find that to be a pile of bunk. Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night. Exactamundo! And that person who did go was that woman. Exactly. So we're gonna have to pull that whole thing out, I guess. Iris even admitted it. So then why is her story suddenly changed? Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. All right, let's see what we can do here. Up 2, 1, 2, let's go, go, go. All right. Let's just hold all the horses. Sister Iris, your testimony has changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the inner temple. Objection. Yes, I know, wah, wah, wah. Did she now? Too bad for you, what she said yesterday doesn't mean much today. By the way, where were you when she claimed that she didn't go? It was in the inner temple's training hall. Nuts. A private conversation between the two of you does not constitute testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay. I mean, I guess. What do you have to say, witness? I just couldn't tell him the truth at the time. Mystic Maya. She's your girlfriend, isn't she? I didn't want to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit murder. There. We all understand how difficult this is for you. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. What did you... I'd just like to point out for the record that Phoenix didn't technically deny it. I know that doesn't mean anything, but still, I'm sorry. What did you witness in the temple garden? Moving on. All right, well, let's talk about that too. Why? You're saying that the victim attacked Maya, Miss Faye. Yes, it was a truly frightening scene. Mystic Maya was struck hard on the head and looked like she was going to collapse. What were you doing at the time? Why didn't you stop them from fighting? I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak. I was in such shock. That's perfectly understandable, my dear. This doesn't sound right. I don't believe this testimony for a minute. What happened after that? All right, well, actually, I was just kind of working my way up to it, but you want to maybe describe? She moved in to deliver a fatal strike? Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon. Okay, well, now we've got something here. Wait a minute. What was this weapon? It was some kind of dagger. A dagger, huh? And Elise Donim tried to stab her with this weapon? To kill Miss Faye? Yes, exactly. Oh, what are you consuming about? You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce. You might be wondering how I was able to get as close to pronouncing that properly as I could. I've actually practiced that word in the past. Also, that actually sounds like a fun side story. Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy? You know, legally, you are also a lawyer boy, so I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Do I have a problem with her testimony? Yeah, kinda. We know that's a pile of bunk, Your Honor. I have a small problem with the witness's testimony. You do? But this witness is your own client. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if she's freaking lying. Yes, well, nevertheless. That's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony. Yes, sir. Hey, just a moment. It's my job to say that. Do I look like I give a damn? Listen, Gramps, I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me, even though that's not my job and I have absolutely no legal jurisdiction to accomplish any of that whatsoever. I didn't... I was busy. Dang it. I wasn't paying attention and then I had to hear that. Okay, now let's continue. Gross. Okay, well, obviously that's a pile of lies and stupid. So if you don't mind. Sister Iris, there's something strange about your version of events. Huh? Mr. Nim throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me. But all you can do with a staff is hit someone. Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. It shoots lasers. Or right now, instead, it's, as you can see, it's a sword. If Elise Donim really had wanted to kill Maya Faye, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. I don't know why we described it as such, but still accurate. Yeah, that's that she had a sword. Well, that's just crazy. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say? Do I look like I give a damn? That was an impressive bit of investigating, Trey. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? Oh boy. A long sword is unwieldy, and thus quite ineffective in close quarters combat. Swords are quite literally close quarters combat weapons. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade. Well, anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Faye. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony. But there is something strange about this whole testimony. Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point. Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument. Is that what we're doing? Mr. Wright, I will not abide lying in the courtroom. I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Elise Denim would never attempt to take the life of Maya Faye. Okay, so we're already busting out this chestnut, huh? Okay. I didn't really know if this got checked or not. Also, she was 40. Oh, wow, she is older. Huh. Or she was. Well, point is, to take that. Dang it, I stumbled it up. Elise Donim would never have attacked Maya Faye. How can you be so sure? Iris, I refuse to believe you don't know this, because the victim's real name was not Elise Denim. Her real name was Misty Faye. Faye? No. not Mystic Misty Faye. Who is this Misty Faye? Is she related to... Misty Faye is the master of the Kurain channeling technique. She's also the mother of Maya Faye. Are you serious? Holy hell, it was a mom and what? Is it really true, Mr. Wright? You didn't know. Was Elise de Nim actually the great Mystic Misty? I thought... Okay. Yes, okay, there's no doubt about it. Looks like Iris had no idea. I find that weird, but okay. I could hardly believe it. The idea that she would try to kill her own daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years? Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing. Well, I mean, if we're gonna be incredibly technical about that, I mean, the fact that they were mother and daughter doesn't actually mean anything, because I'm sure if you looked it over, there's a lot of recorded instances of parents killing their children, which is an incredibly screwed up thing to have to actually openly say, but it's the truth. Just because it's exceptionally messed up, even more so than ordinary murder, doesn't mean it isn't a thing that can happen. So I imagine he's probably gonna pull that card out. Gargan! Or maybe he can't. All right, whatever, I'll take whatever quick victories I can grab. Order in the court! Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and two, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter, despite the facts being believable when taken on their own, when taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe. Oh, never mind, I'm condescendingly smooth again. Listen, there's nothing in this world that's impossible, except for one little thing. Yeah, and what's this one little impossible thing? Ha, you still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps. I'm not entirely sure how to interpret what that means. Could you get to your point? I never get to my point. I heard this witness's confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee. You've got problems. You're gonna ruin your health, my friend. Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty. That's a dagger with some blood on it. Well, that's a problem. Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing? Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else? Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be blood on it. Oh my God, there's blood on the dagger. But where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Yeah, it's because I took it. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene? Huh? The pine tree? What pine tree? I don't see any pine trees. The dagger was stuck in the back side of the pine tree when the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women. This little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree. I don't see a pine tree. I don't know what kind of tree the one I'm looking at is, but I know it's not pine, and everything behind it is bamboo. I guess I could see possibly what looks to be another tree way back over there, but that's also clearly not a pine tree. Which means the blood on the dagger belongs to the victim, correct? Ha. Were you even listening, old man? Why do you keep insulting the judge? Do you have no decency? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee. Didn't you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago? Yeah, he's kind of a weirdo. I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice. In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately. This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right. That's a really weird thing to say about a murder weapon you found. But I mean, you did say something incredibly weird, similar to that not too long ago, but still. Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Found behind a tree in the inner temple garden. The blood is being analyzed. Now then, the testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible. Fantastic. Cute girls never lie. Ever. Wow. Hopefully that's sarcasm, otherwise you're incredibly stupid. I'm just throwing that out there. In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court. About what, Your Honor? About the incident you saw. The battle between the two women. Yes, Your Honor. So we're actually gonna get like the play-by-play for the fight. All right, I'm sure there probably is gonna be something in here I can figure out. Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff. But then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Oh, well, that's just... Suddenly, Mystic Elise was on the defensive with her back to the stone lantern. Well, that's just not true. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling that knife away, but then she collapsed. Okay, well, that's obviously bunk. It was a very heartbreaking story. I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore. That just seems like you're making stuff up. I'm very confused as to why you're doing all of this. It's like an entirely different story and MO than she was doing before. It's very frustrating. That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination. All right. Well, first and foremost, I'd actually like to take a little bit of a gander on over to my evidence, if you don't mind. I need to see if something actually says where I think so. Loss of blood from a stab in back. And body also fell 10 feet. So that's a bit of a few things. All right. And stole her weapon with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic stabbed it. Okay. So, yeah, I think this is it, because the picture is up to... It explicitly contradicts. So, objection! Something about you just isn't right today, Iris. Huh? Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. Slam jam! However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions. What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony? Well, I'll explain to you what's wrong with your dang testimony. You friggin' Dorcas. According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim while she had her back to the stone lantern, correct? Yes, that's right. But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right? Yes, I think so. But, according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back. This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony. All right, I'm starting to have some serious suspicions about what's going on here. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? Ha! It's simple. I'm smug. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. You get my drift? Not even remotely. You're a very strange man. Is that all you have to say? Consume! Dang it! I still heard most of it. I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind. What the hell's that supposed to mean? Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already? Thank you. The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, the people fighting being mother and daughter. And now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach. There certainly are some inconsistencies. Well, Iris, how about it? Well, it's just... If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. What do you mean? Consume! There, got that one. There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee. No, there's literally only one type of bitterness. It's called bitter. That's how the human tongue works. Please take a biology lesson. But to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said? Prosecutor Godot, explain yourself. The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. That's what we're rolling with, huh? A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light. Light. Consume! By the way, did you know? Kazukura had a rule that on nights when an acolyte is at the inner temple training, the stone lantern in the garden must be kept lit. I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for. Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime scene more clearly? Normally, yes, Your Honor. But according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern. Impossible? It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to have been nearly pitch black in the garden that night. Okay, then how can we believe that she's saying literally anything? I feel like this still makes my point for me. Okay, so she didn't see how the person was attacked. How did she see literally anything? If it was nearly pitch black, how did she even know who was even around? It all seems like conjecture and assumptions. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all. Most enlightening. Great. Ah! Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. Except for that, if the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Okay, so they didn't recognize each other. So they just decided to get into a fight to the death randomly for no reason? How's that supposed to work? Isn't that right, Trite? Why are you this way? Order, order, order in the court. Here, Your Honor. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it'll rekindle the flame of truth in your mind. Fantastic. Also, I thought it already was. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face? What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot? This lantern. There's something written on it. Oh my god. He really actually can't see the color red, can he? Why? It's written in blood. Oh boy. So the judge didn't know about that yet? Written in blood? It says Maya upside down. What the? Oh yes, that's right. Allow me to just throw this information out here out of nowhere. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, despite the fact that she can't see, and not being able to see would make writing kind of difficult. I suppose you could argue that's why it's so sloppily written, but still. With the blood that was draining out of her body. Oh god, that was draining out of her body, that's disgusting. It certainly looks that way. Hang on just a minute. What are you all talking about? What do you mean, what are we all talking about? We're talking about the message written in blood. Nonsense! This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle. Could it be? He can't see the bloody writing at all? I mean, it was just kind of casually brought up before, but it's pretty clear he can't see the color red. Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. So that's what he meant by that. In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We know that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Godot, anything further? Mr. Godot? Okay then, let's move on. Godot's literally shaking, and somehow I don't think it's from caffeine overdose. That is a little odd, ain't it? I mean, it's one thing to be kind of confused by this whole thing, but he must be aware of the fact that he can't see this color red at this point. So why is he so shaken up about it? If nothing else, it helps just prove his entire point. So that should be seen as, like, surprisingly good news, wouldn't it? And I believe it has now been established that Miss Denim was killed by Maya Fey. That's just wrong! Now it's time to turn our attention to you. Yes, sir. After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Consume! I mean, you didn't consume the body. That would be horrifying. Let's hear it. We're all ears. You're mostly eyeball. All right. So, how are we gonna pull this one apart? After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Kurain tradition. So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Kazukura Temple, and I used the Shishishito to alter the way the wound looked. But none of this explains the bruises from falling. So you moved the body. Yes, I was raised at Kazukura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fey clan. You're part of it! Even so, I never imagined that Elise Denim was actually Misty Fey. I've I've committed a terrible sin. A terrible trick of fate. I believe you're looking for a twist of fate, Your Honor, but whatever. I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body, but you were spotted by the head nun, correct? Yes, and that's why I couldn't go back. Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination. Indeed. Yes, Your Honor. All right, swing it around. Let's do it again. Gotta get this all figured out. We're gonna do it. All right, so I thought it was my, okay, well, and did she say anything back to you, perchance? So you waited until everything was over before making a move? No, it's not like that. She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid. Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless that I just sit quietly and wait for them to reach a conclusion. Isn't it your job as the judge to mediate the argument? It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. You don't say. All right, fine. I removed the body. I dragged it behind me all the way to the... Really? It's pretty amazing you can make it all the way across. That's a rickety old bridge. It looks worse than it is. It's surprisingly sturdy despite its age. It's like they say, idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold. You had no reason to bring that up other than to be petty. But there's one other thing that bothers me. Why not just throw the body into the Eagle River? Exactamundo. It would have been much easier than dragging it all the way to Kazukura Temple. I thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible. Wouldn't it being swept away in the current be as far away as possible? Huh. Makes perfect sense to me. It doesn't, but okay, for the time being. Anyway, what did you do? Oh, okay. Well, I actually thought that was more of a... Okay. I honestly believed that was actually going to be more of a thing than it ended up being. That's a bit of a problem. Okay, well, let's press other stuff and see if we can figure out what it is we're actually supposed to do. The snowmobile? I knew that would show up sooner or later. Yes, I had the key. I used the snowmobile to travel from Kazukura Temple to Dusky Bridge. And this is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more detail? Forget it about the snowmobile. Well, maybe we can suss out something here. Hang on. If you really did move her body by snowmobile, then there should be tracks left in the snow, right? Well, yes, naturally you would expect tracks. This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks from that ride? Yes, I think they are. But I can only see one set of tracks here. And I don't see what's so strange about that. Snow was still falling when I left Kazukura Temple. I see. Snow was still falling, huh? And then when the murder took place, it had already stopped. Huh, that's why there are such fresh-looking tracks. How about it, Mr. Wright? What do you think about this testimony? No, I'm definitely gonna call this important. When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped? That doesn't make any sense if you stack it up against the other evidence. Bada bing! Your Honor, this isn't where I thought we were going with the conversation, but it's the way I've chosen to take it. I'd like the statement Iris just made added to the testimony. But does it have something to do with the case? All will be made clear if you allow her statement to be added to the record. Huh, this should be fun. Let's get this snow business cleared up, shall we? There's no business like snow business. Yes, sir. By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. Okay, but hang on a second. Weather data, 10:50, lightning, 10 to approximately 11. And then, if there's something else, come on, brain, there was something else I wanted to look at. Right, something to that effect. Yeah, okay, this should all line up. Objection! Wait, no? The witness statement is clearly faulty, Your Honor. Okay, well, I clearly screwed up. Okay, should I pick the wrong thing? The snow had already stopped. Yeah. Was that... hang on, did I pick something that wasn't it? What? Press it? There have been a lot of contradictions in your testimony so far. This time, are you sure it's all true? Yes, I am. When the murder happened, the snow had already stopped. According to you, that's why the snowmobile tracks were so clear. That's right. I'm certain of it. I think I've trapped her this time. Oh. I see how you think. Snow, huh? What is going on here? If the snow really had stopped by the time of the murder, it'd mean there's a bigger hole in her story than that movie, The Grid Revelations. Wait, what? Well then, Mr. Trite, perhaps you'd like to share your theory with us? Let's see what's up your sleeve, or rather, at the end of your index finger. That hurt my brain. I don't want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. But why would she want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of. Okay. But, dragged it all the way, then it caused it, and... But that... Wait. I don't understand. I don't... If I'm not supposed to present the weather data on... And the thing is gone, do I get it back? Hang on. Hold up. Can I get that? Can I get that back? Yeah, about the tracks. I want it back. Gimme, gimme. Did I must have done it. I must have just presented it. Did I pick the wrong object because I'm stupid? I use the Shinchi. And now I don't understand anything. What happened to the... I don't... The snowmobile. Yeah, okay, no. About the I'm confused as all hell right now. Yeah, okay, snow was still falling and all that. And I want the information. Yeah, very well, let's continue with the testimony. So you... That's what I thought. What? I don't... And am I insane? Was there not an additional thing there? I thought... Okay, I'm sorry, hang on. I'm so supremely flustered. I went into this with a very specific thing, and then it didn't happen, and then things changed, and now my brain is all frazzled. Okay, just give me a sec. I'll figure this out. I'll just look through everything. I got this. I got this. Just give me a minute. Okay, all right. I've settled down, and I think maybe, possibly, I think that maybe this will work this time. I'm not even remotely sure anymore, but okay. It's one of those, okay, I think I understand. I was supposed to, I got the information, I pressed the information, I got new information, which makes this statement all make, I apologize. Usually I'm so much better than being able to make a mistake like that. Okay. You claimed that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred. But I'm sorry, Iris. That just isn't possible. What? This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50 p.m. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time. But why do you say that? Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and it caught on fire. The whole damn thing was up in flames. That's, okay. What did you say? The bridge, it was on fire? You don't mean to say you didn't know about it. It was because of that lightning strike that the bridge burned down. What? But it can't be. It looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth. You can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney. No! A real defense attorney that just made a complete and total ass of himself, but... Shake it off, shake it off. Move it on. We've progressed. The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right, the inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way you could have crossed that bridge. Body or no body. Witness, even my patience has its limits, and it's very bountiful. Any further lying and I will find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Well, apparently not, but Godot does. The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. Consume! Old man. Me, how dare you? I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to just openly insult the judge so commonly. Then again, I guess Francisca did whip him a bunch and that didn't do anything, but still. Whether this witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now. Squat? The important thing now is to find out the truth. Isn't that right? Yes, of course, but whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridge was burning or not, there are two facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Elise Denim was discovered in the Kazukura Temple courtyard. And second, the head nun, Sister Bikini, witnessed Iris desecrating Elise Denim's body. Makes a good point, on both accounts. That is true. That's right. I'm not lying. What are you claiming this time? I wasn't myself at all that night, so my memory is still somewhat hazy. Or you're just pulling stuff out of your butt. You've stood at that witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory of that night is hazy? It's only human to err. If you're so perfect trite, maybe you could explain this for the court. What is it? When the murder happened, the bridge had already burnt down. But somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found in the temple courtyard. Perhaps you have some kind of perfect explanation for this little magic trick? Well, not exactly, no. I know there must be some other ways she got across that burnt out bridge. But unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth. It looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation. You see what I mean? In other words, you're in no possession to suggest this lady's testimony isn't the truth. Gak! No, that defense attorney, he's not doing a good job. Did you see all that idiocy he did? All right then, witness, let's hear your testimony once more from the top. About what, Your Honor? What do you mean about what? Ah, Chihuahua. You've admitted that you've moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony. Yes, Your Honor. Will this be her final testimony? I hope so. After that last embarrassing display, I don't want to make another mistake like that. Moving the body. All right, let's go. Other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body. So I must have just gotten confused, I guess. With the snow still falling, or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much? Or are you saying that there is a way to cross the burning bridge? Oh, well, that's not a helpful testimony. So it was just a misunderstanding. I see. This is a photo of Dusky Bridge after it burned down from the lightning blast. It was taken on the morning after the incident. It certainly was burned to a crisp, and one of the suspension wires even snapped. It's amazing the whole bridge didn't fall. All right, dudes, I got it. I know I was confused by it at first, but then it all came together. Okay, clearly it would be impossible to carry a corpse across a bridge in this condition. Yep. I got it. Unless I do something to discredit this testimony, it's gonna be deemed as the truth. And lies can't be truth. Only truth can be the truth. This is just crazy, man. All right, here we go. And Maya will be accused of murder. Trite. I'm only gonna say it one more time. Oh, now what? It's only human to err. And only humans can spot the errors of our ways. The more sense he makes, the less sense he makes. Dang it. Make me hiccup in my laughter. All right, Mr. Wright, please begin your final cross-examination. If I simply must. Moving the body. Okay. I think I know exactly how this all works. I believe. I just want to make absolutely certain before I even think about presenting anything whatsoever that this is all going to work out. Okay. I understand now. I get why suspension wires and all that stuff. I finally figured it out. Okay, so here's the thing that confused me. If I can find Larry's sketch, here it is. Okay. Something that confused me about it, was the fact that the cables that are on the bottom are on the top. And I didn't really understand that, and I just kind of thought that maybe I misremembered and that the cables were attached to the top, but they weren't. Then I remembered that scene we saw when Larry testified. He was like upside down. So what I thought was he went up there and watched it all happen and then he was sketched it. I think he sketched it while he was lying there. And if that's what he was doing, then he would have drawn the thing upside down. And if he was doing that, then there was a way to get the body over. A dead body flying over a burning bridge. I wouldn't exactly rule out the possibility. But, what? Huh. You're saying it's possible? Don't make me laugh. Because I'm literally physically incapable of it. The only thing that's possible, Clad! You tricked me, I was in the middle of reading your words, you jerk! I bet your claim is that it's been pulled out of thin air. I don't know about that. In any case, we have a witness who did see it happen. You know, spit takes may be gross, but boy howdy, are they satisfying. Who is it? Who is this witness? I can't chicken out here. I've got to keep on the attack and go, go, go! Melise, I combined Miss Elise to Ms. Elise. Miss Elise Dunham's brilliant and highly gifted apprentice, Laurence Dunham. Brilliant, highly gifted apprentice? I don't know why we're being so glowing, but there you go. Remember what he said in his testimony. That night, he was at the Mountain Shack, Heavenly Hall. And, there we go, that's the picture. And that's when he witnessed the event. Or maybe he wasn't doing it upside down, but he did it the way he saw it, and that's the way he saw it, so that's the way he drew it. I think we've all seen this sketch before. It's an exact drawing of what he witnessed that night. Are you serious? Today's not April Fool's Day, is it? No, apparently it's February 10th. Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that the victim flew through the air? And you're using this pathetic scribble to support your argument? Uh-oh. The judge looks like he's about to blow a gasket. Well, Trite, there's nowhere for you to hide now. Other than looking like it was drawn by a 6-year-old, does this sketch prove anything? Yes, I'm pretty sure it does, and I'm gonna prove it. Listen, I know your tricks. You're trying to turn this whole thing upside down. It's funny because I am literally attempting to do that. If you're so eager to turn this case upside down, why not start with this sketch? Yeah, exactly. Upside down. Why did Godot say that? It's almost like he gave the info away, which is odd. All right, then, let's hear the defense's theory. What exactly is this sketch trying to show? I don't think old Whiskerface is gonna forgive any more mistakes. All right, Phoenix, look carefully and think it over. The sketch drawn by Laurence Dunham. Evidence of nothing, a completed contradiction. Exactly what happened? I believe it's a complete contradiction. Something is obviously funny about this sketch. I'm no art critic, but I can see that. No, that's not what I meant, Your Honor. The music came back. Jesus. Freaking me out. Laurence Dunham stated it over and over that this sketch was exactly as he saw it. However, if we're to believe his testimony, then the sketch contradicts reality as we know it. It contradicts reality? This is getting interesting. Looks like you're back to that finger-pointing thing again. Okay, Trite. So what exactly contradicts reality as we know it? Well, I think it's the cable. It's this wire connected to the bridge. The unique dialogue implies that I did it correctly. Damn. The wire? Is that the thing that contradicts reality? Yeah, it is indeed. Then show us the reality it supposedly conflicts with. Show us something that'll point out how the sketch contradicts reality. Well, luckily, you literally gave me the means to do that, so thanks. That's a photo of Dusky Bridge, correct? Yes. Now, compare the sketch and the photo for a minute. In the sketch, the wires appear to be above the guard wires. However, there we go. But on the actual Dusky Bridge, Jumpin' Jehoshaphat! I cannot tell you how happy I am to hear someone say that. Thank you, Judge. The wires are below the guard wires. What is all this gobbledygook? And other chicaneries. Order. This sketch is somewhat different than what's depicted in the photo. However, isn't it likely that the artist just saw it wrong? Or perhaps he just drew it wrong? Either way, it sounds like you're just wrong. Nah. With someone like Larice, I admit a mistake is a definite possibility. But then that begs the question. Why did he make a mistake? What was the reason? Are you saying you know the answer to that? Indeedy I do. Listen, think back, all right? Remember what Larice was doing when he witnessed this event? He was at Heavenly Hall waiting for a lover that was never going to come. Phoenix, putting in a very large amount of kind words to Larry for no reason. He waited, and finally he laid down. Wa-cha-cha-cha! But then, lightning shoots from the sky and sets the bridge aflame. Now ponder what sort of position Larice must have been in at the time. He was lying on his back, which is why he remembered the scene the way he did. He was lying on his back? I can't see how it relates. But it does, Your Honor! Chickadee check it! This is the reason why the wires in the sketch go up instead of down. Ah! Gugh. No way. Larice Denim witnessed the events while he was lying on his back face up. In other words, the scene that he saw was actually upside down. As is this entire trial. Oh my god, it was upside down. That's brilliant wordplay. Ha. So then, this sketch should actually... I think you finally get it, Your Honor. The correct way to view Larice Denim's sketch is like this. This is how it should actually look. Oh my god, that does look significantly more likely. Oh, the victim's body wasn't flying above the bridge. It was actually swinging below. That's right, just like a pendulum. Ridiculous. Oh my god, a pendulum. Oh, it's like a clock. It just don't stop.
Objection.
Of all the things to say, a pendulum? A pendulum! The bridge was burning to a crisp. There was no way to get across. But if the body had been found at the inner temple, it would have caused problems. This is where the criminal decided to take a gamble. And he used the burning bridge to get the body across to the other side. And a pendulum was the only way to get it done. Let's think about this for a minute, shall we? Dusky Bridge is about 20 yards long, which means it's about that far from the inner temple to the opposite cliff. Yes, that sounds right. In order to cover that distance with a pendulum, you need a rope at least 10 yards long. To get a rope that long, you'd have to plan ahead. Except nah. Right, Phoenix? The lightning strike that night could only have been an accident, so it doesn't make sense that the culprit would have prepared the rope beforehand. So then, they didn't have to get the rope ready. The rope was already right in front of them. What? I'm saying that it was just a matter of using what was already there. In that case, Mr. Wright, please give us an explanation to support your theory.
Oh boy, okay, fine. If that's what I gotta do, then that's what I'm gonna do.
What makes you think the criminal had the rope on hand to create a pendulum? Because it was, oh, sorry. I was actually really worried, but I get it. I know how it is. And the meaning of this is, if you want to know where the rope came from, I thought it was implied that it was the cable. It's hanging right there in front of your glorious beard. I'm glad we always make sure to point out and compliment that thing. This is one of the wires from the bridge. There we go. When the lightning struck the bridge and set it on fire, one of the suspension wires came loose from its anchor. The criminal didn't have any time to waste, so they tied the wire around Miss Elise Dedim's body, and volley whoosh! Man, that was a hell of a gamble. I mean, I guess it would either get over there or fall into the river, because there was simply no other way to move the body. And that would also explain the bruises, and it would actually also probably explain how the, yeah, actually, I think that explains everything. Is this real or fake? Huh. Oh God, gross. Taking my headphones off. Okay. I'm going to assume that means I did a good. Mr. Godot? Ah, he's still doing. Why? Ugh. It seems that Mr. Godot is more focused on his coffee than answering my question. It seems that the odds of a rope being readily available were very high. So I suppose that it's not an impossibility after all. Oh God, is he done? Thank you. Okay, headphones back on. Possible or impossible? That's not the question we need to ask. There's only one question. Did that really happen? Trite, I wonder if you can prove what happened to us. Do you have any actual evidence that the body was swung over like a pendulum? Well, I believe that I do. It would explain all of the bruises, would it not? Before I present my evidence, let me review what we know so far. According to this photo, one of the wires snapped. Bada bing. Looking at the map, we can see it's the one that was in front of the inner temple. So then that was the spot where the criminal. Yes, precisely. Now, let us consider the body's movement by looking at the overhead map again. If the body was pushed from this point here, and it went foo-wee, it would drop on the opposite bank at approximately this point. Did you say drop? Well, they must have failed to catch the body on the other bank. What makes you think something like that happened? Because I have evidence that suggests her body dropped some distance. What kind of evidence? The freaking autopsy report. Take a look at this autopsy report, yo. It says here that her body fell about 10 feet after her death. 10 feet, huh? That's most likely the height difference between the two sides. The body overswung due to the forward momentum, but then came loose and fell about 10 feet. And then, as a result of the landing impact, this crystal sphere was knocked loose. And that's how it ended up over there. Yes, this blood-stained amethyst crystal. It's the one that came off of Miss Elise Denham's staff. And even more important is the place where the crystal sphere was found. Indeed. I believe it's already marked on this overhead map. That it is. The crystal was found, precisely, Your Honor, in the very spot where the pendulum would arrive if given the right amount of speed. Oh my God, this guy's really smart. This explains your theory quite well, Mr. Wright. You have provided us with the way the body could have moved that night. And an impressive deduction, Mr. Wright. Most impressive. Oh, I was wondering what that snap noise was, Mr. Wright. I thought this cold coffee might help cool you down. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Godot? Well, he got the better of me, so I spazzed out and just kind of threw that out there and hope for the best. That was a dark and bitter guess that you made, Trite. But you forgot about one thing. Oh? And what would that be? The aroma. Huh? Why are you this way? A coffee's most reliable accomplice is its deep and profound aroma. The rest of the court doesn't speak coffinese. Could you elaborate a bit more? If the criminal had sent the body to the other side like you say, then naturally there must have been an accomplice lying in wait to catch it. An accomplice? The criminal wasn't able to cross Dusky Bridge, so who collected the body? What do you have to say about that, Trite? So we're gonna have to start talking about this, are we? Mr. Godot is correct. This can't be the work of a single person. Well, Mr. Wright, you know what you must do. Yes, Your Honor. The body couldn't have made it to Kazukura Temple without an accomplice. Very well then, if you please, Mr. Wright. Who was the person that received the body on the Kazukura Temple side? Well, if everything went exactly as I think it did, then the only possible explanation is that it was Iris. It can only be you, Sister Iris. Huh? Ah! But I don't see why you're so surprised. The only way to transport the body from Dusky Bridge is by snowmobile. But with her bad back, Sister Bikini could never pick up a body like that. You're the only one that could have managed it. Trite, were you even listening to the witness's testimony? On the night of the crime, this little cutie pie... I hate the way he talks about women! Was on cleanup duty in the Inner Temple Garden after the mother-daughter bloodbath. Incredibly insensitive way to phrase it, you jerkwad. I haven't forgotten, but have you, Mr. Godot? This witness was also seen at Kazukura Temple, desecrating the corpse of the victim. Strange indeed. It's almost as if, on that night, the defendant was in two different places at the same time. Sister Iris, let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony? Mention what? The pendulum, of course. Using the sketch drawn by an eyewitness, and I've established how the body was moved using the burnt-out bridge, which means it's now a fact that this occurred, something you should have already known. No, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about a pendulum. But the body couldn't have been passed along to the other side without your help. So you should have known about it. In fact, it'd be impossible for you to be clueless about this whole thing. Unless you're not really Iris to begin with. Holy crap. Dudes! I know what you're thinking. You think, oh, it must be Dahlia. That's what he's reacting about. That's not what I'm reacting about. Yes, this is obviously Dahlia. But think about it. If she's dead, she must be being channeled. And when someone gets channeled by, when a spirit gets channeled by a spirit medium, their body contorts and changes and all that gobbledygook to look more like them. The only difference is the hair color. They can't change the hair color. The face and everything, that all changes, but the hair stays the same. Because when Mia is summoned by Pearl, her hair stays brown. So not only is this Dahlia, she's currently in the body of Maya. It's the only thing it could possibly be. What? How can you say that, Mr. Wright? What kind of nonsense is this? You're saying this witness isn't Iris of Kazukura Temple? Objection. Indeed I am. Are you serious, Trite? As a heart attack. You mean this woman is... Here we go. Come on now. There's no one beside Iris that could have received the corpse that night. Now I get it. Now I know why I've been sick to my stomach this whole trial. Why her whole demeanor changed so suddenly from yesterday. And why she's trying to pin this murder on Maya. The woman that's standing there at the witness stand, her real name is... Goddamn Dahlia Hawthorne. I never thought I'd have to utter your name again, let alone see you. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne. The reaction's on the money, isn't it? Hawthorne? Sister Iris had a twin sister. And you're looking at her, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. That name rings some bells. Distant bells, but bells nonetheless. It's just your imagination, Gramps. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne. I assume one reading session later. Oh, yes, I remember now. That case, 5 years ago. Yep, I just want to say it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. Everyone's all falling over her. Yep. Oh, that's actually a pretty cool effect. But according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne is already dead. It says her execution was carried out last month. Consume. So what? Death has no meaning in this courtroom. Okay, so I get that he's obviously still not on my side, but I got a lot, considering his own circumstances and his backstory and everything and how everything is going to run, that's a really badass line. I gotta give kudos to that. What? Oh my god, death has no meaning. What does he mean by that? Order, order, order. Wait a moment. How can you, my sister, she's already dead. What kind of, shut your face, you lying demon. You of all people should already understand. After all, the blood of the master of the Kurain channeling technique flows within that body. The Kurain channeling technique? Now where have I heard that? That's right, you're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia, currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium. And Maya's the only person it can possibly be. It was either her or Pearl, and we know it ain't Pearl. What an exciting story. Exciting, but quite impossible. You're asking us to buy that Dahlia Hawthorne just happened to be channeled by someone on the very night of the murder to a temple where her twin sister Iris was? Well, if you're gonna put things that way, then yes. Objection. I mean, when you say it like that, it sounds contrived, but it's the facts. We're supposed to believe a coincidence like that just happens? Nah. Naturally, it was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. It's all written right here in these instructions. What's that? These instructions were written by your mother, Morgan Fay. And part of the plan called for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at Kazukura Temple. 2 of them? Even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell. In other words, 10 p.m. However, Iris was seen before dinner time. That means the Iris that was at dinner was the real Iris. And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning that the Iris Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple was someone else dressed as her. Namely, one Dahlia Hawthorne. Do you even know what you're saying, Trite? This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business. Yes, it's true that you found plans that talk about it. However, there's one thing that's perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris. What? What makes you so sure of that? Ugh. God. Calm down and remember what you know about the night of the crime. After meeting Sister Bikini, the Dahlia Hawthorne that had been channeled would have been stranded at the inner temple due to the lightning strike. Yeah? It was later that the body was moved by pendulum. That's right. Naturally, that would mean that Iris, the Iris that received the body, was the real Iris. Are you with me so far? Yes. After being notified of what happened, the police came to Kazukura Temple's main hall. There, they found Iris in her room and arrested her. And ever since, she's been under police supervision at the detention center, except for that one brief moment in time where she was being escorted by Edgeworth, and then he passed out, and then she ran off and vanished. So, I'm just immediately pointing out the plot hole in the little thing you're talking about right there, in case that might come in handy. Yes, I suppose. I can't deny any of that. Whew. Thank goodness. It looks like he's finally convinced. But something still seems off. Way off. I'm still not convinced that the Iris here is the same one from the other night. I suppose you're about to say something really ridiculous? Well, it's quite literally all that I know. Yeah, to consume. Like, the real Iris and the spirit of Dahlia somehow switched places. Switched places? Oh my god, switched places? Is that what this is all about? To be perfectly honest, there are still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do know that unless we confirm the witness's identity, we can't continue with this trial. Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia, which means they must have switched places somewhere. Well, Mr. Wright, since the time she was arrested at Kazukura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places? Absolutely, there was one. And I hate to have to bring it up, but I need to in order to get truth. Your Honor, I think there might have been one chance. Oh, explain yourself. Yesterday, for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown. Unknown? What do you mean? What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely unsupervised. Well, who was it? Who would give a murder suspect time to move about freely like that? Oh, no, that makes it sound so much worse than it actually is. I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean to. It wasn't your fault. The person who gave Iris the chance to freely move about was... Man, I am so sorry, Edgeworth. That is the worst possible way they could have phrased it. This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it? Your Honor, there was a fairly large earthquake yesterday. Was there not? An earthquake? There was many a shimmy and a shake. Of that much there is fact. You can get the weather report on that one all you want. Get some seismograph testing stuff, whatever. How could I have? She fled. She escaped. It sucked. We went to the inner temple right away. And it's true, Iris was already there. However, they had already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the trading hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne. Holy hell, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, that's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now see here. No judge in his right mind would consider the idea of spirit channeling it. Be quiet. It is her. It's been a long time, Mr. Judge. That voice. Guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting... I always ask for a name and profession. God. Yeah, I know, you said it. Dahlia Hawthorne. And my current profession? Permanently retired. So you're not going to bother hiding your identity anymore, huh? Why should I? After all, I'm dead. There's really nothing you can do to punish me. Wow, that is the most ungodly, insufferable, punchable face I think I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of faces that need to be punched. Holy crap. What is going on here? Dahlia Hawthorne. I never thought we'd meet again. And I never thought we'd meet like this. But this time, I'll end it. For her, and for myself. On one hand, I hate that it's a cliffhanger. On the other, that's a damn good place for a cliffhanger. All right. Well, everything's all lined up. Now we just actually have to, you know, prove all of the things that we haven't proven yet. That's obviously going to take some effort, but we're going to make it happen, damn it. I'll see you all then.